Hello guys, and welcome to Simply Vintage Watches. There is no watch on my wrist because today we are going to have a state of the collection. Now each watch has earned a spot in my collection for a particular reason. We'll start with watch number 1. And first off is an Art Deco watch from 1952. I love the design aesthetics of Art Deco, and they are often overlooked. The teardrops are horned lugs on this watch, the copper dial, the diamond style applied indices, the little discreet running seconds at 6 o'clock, and obviously the signed crown. So that is watch number 1. Watch number 2 is a watch from the SSIH, or Société Suisse de l'Industrie Horlogère. That was the partnership that existed for a very long time between Omega, Tissot, and Lemania. So inside this watch, we have a Lemania 1277 movement. We can start the chronograph. The orange accent on the chronograph counting hand is beautiful. You can follow it very, very well. As well as the blue accent for the first 15 seconds on the chronograph counter at 3 o'clock. There's very, very honest patina on this watch. I love the tachymètre bezel. Very beautiful as well. Stop and reset. Functioning correctly. Next up, we have an Omega bumper automatic from 1954. So this is an Omega Seamaster calendar. So it displays the date at 6 o'clock with a Cyclops, which you could have as an original purchase from Omega back in the day, or some people would take it as an option when they had their watch serviced back in the 50s and 60s as well. Beautiful eggshell dial in all original condition. The case has been slightly polished, but that doesn't bother me too much, as you can still see some of the sharp edges very well on the watch. You have that nice mention in the back, waterproof and Seamaster on this one. The clover crown as well is a nice element to the watch. So next off, we're going to go with a chronograph from the 1940s. So this is a more obscure brand right now. It's Telda by Les Fils d'Armand Nicolet. So Armand Nicolet still exists today, and the company is based in Italy, but they produce watches in Switzerland. But these were Armand Nicolet's sons that started this company back in 1939. So inside this nice little chronograph is a Venus 170 movement. It's a column wheel movement, and also has the famous oscillating pinion that Heuer said to have patented in 1887. Heuer then said no, that Heuer himself claimed to have bettered the oscillating pinion because watchmakers as far as the late 1700s were already using it. And to this day, you have high-end watchmakers like François-Paul Journe that use an oscillating pinion in some of their movements. IWC as well, Heuer obviously, and Richard Mille. I really love the different tracks on this watch, the nice blues, reds, and champagne dial. We can stop it as well and reset it. Voila. Next up is a watch that carries a very important patent, at least to me, and that is a watch that was cased by Soumarine, a French case maker in the 60s. And that's the important bit about this watch. Hermès is not a brand that is known, but it is commonly accepted that Rolex with Comex developed the helium escape valve. A little research will show you that Doxa did with the Sea Rambler initially, but it wasn't Doxa. It was Pibard, which is a Swiss company that still exists to this day, that still develops sealing methods on watch cases. So you can see the helium escape valve on the crown at 3 o'clock. And this came out in 1965, a few years before Doxa developed theirs. This was the first attempt at a helium escape valve. Obviously, it's not on the case at 9 o'clock, so you can consider this the grandfather of the helium escape valve. And what is beautiful about this watch is that you can still see, if I put it at the right angle, the patent number on the back, which you can research yourself, which is number 4952/65, is the patent number for the original helium escape valve on the crown at 3 o'clock. Beautiful bit of history right here. One of my favorite watches. Next up, another watch that has an important patent is cased by Yenny, which is the family that now privately owns the Doxa company. So this particular Yenny cased watch is a Philip watch, Scotchlit blue dial. On these original dials, you have to see an orange peel effect, and on certain lights, glitter under the first coat. Now they're hard to come by with a cream bezel like this one right here. And this one also carries 2 patents written on the back, one for the monoblock case and one for the patent decompression bezel. So there you see where it says brevet, patent number 5292/68, and the second patent, well, is upside down or right here under, patent number 1753/68. And the one that goes side by side, 8350/68, if I'm not mistaken, by the glare of the camera. Maybe you can make it out better than I can. So again, watches that did mark the diving progression era. The Hermès showed you, this Yenny that I'm sharing with you right now, Philip watch Yenny, actually, monoblock case and decompression bezel. Has the original crown as well with the Doxa fish now. It is now known as the Doxa fish. Next watch carries no patent, but still holds a record, and that is this Longines. And even though it carries no patent, as I mentioned, it's very important because to this day, it is still the watch that has the thinnest automatic movement with a full rotor, central seconds, and calendar function. The movement is 2.95 millimeters thick, and the full watch is 7.5 millimeters thick. You see that nice linen crosshatch pattern, beautiful Roman numerals. For me, it is the perfect dress watch. Roger Dubuis uses these movements in some other watches, and they're very, very, very expensive watches. And Breguet also uses this movement. Obviously, the Swatch Group owns Longines, owns Breguet, so they use the L9901 that was created by Longines on some high-end Breguets. Here you are. And here we have another very important watch in horological history. If you can pick one of these up, do so. There's one of these in the British Museum of Horological History, and it's a watch by John Harwood. So John Harwood did not invent the automatic watch that was exploited by Louis Abraham Breguet, Louis Abraham Perellet in pocket watches, and on wrist watches, Léon Leroy is a pioneer and in developing 6 watches as prototypes and gifts in 1922. But John Harwood is the first person that made an automatic watch commercially available starting in 1924. He started producing them when he received the confirmation for his patent. And from 24 to 31, he produced at least 30,000 hammer or bumper automatic watches. So this watch is very particular. It's running very well. As you can see, they're all set to the same time and running. So there's no crown on this watch. You set it by the bezel here in the back, and I'll show you. So you see there is a small hole or dot on top of 6 o'clock, which is burgundy or red, and it indicates that the watch is in the running position. But if I turn the case back, which is a bezel in the back, you start setting the time, and it turns pretty much clear for the dot. Let's go back to the right time. There we go. So lovely piece of history right here with a John Harwood watch. And last but not least, it is not a vintage watch, but I think that every vintage collection needs at least one modern watch, and this is the watch I work with every day, which is a Oleg & Weiss P104. I find it's a very, very robust watch. It's very well done. The details on this watch are beautiful. I don't know if the camera can pick them up. The brushing on the seconds hand, minute hand. Very, very well done, Oleg & Weiss. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to see some more content on specific subjects, leave your suggestions, and we'll talk about them on Simply Vintage Watches. Ciao, guys.